Hey good people, and welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are doing well. So in today's video, y'all, I'm not really doing anything big or anything like that. I'm just basically touching up different areas in my yard space, particularly in the front yard. Just kind of going through, looking at the space, because remember, during the winter months, we went ahead and winterized and cleaned up a lot of the spaces in the front yard. And so I'm just kind of going back and looking at things that I need to do. It may consist of pulling up some weeds. There is an area in my front yard that I do want to just kind of beautify it, make it look a little bit more nicer, just kind of create like a little teeny tiny little bed in that area. It already has like a really nice bush there. It's like a oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the bush, but it blooms these beautiful little cute little red flowers. And I never actually landscaped in that little area. It's really small, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do that space today, because that is something I've been thinking about doing for a little while now. So that is one of the things that I definitely want to do. All right, y'all, so here is one of the spaces that I definitely want to focus on in today's video. So this is the plant that I was telling you guys about. Not sure if you can tell it with the leaves, but it hasn't started blooming yet, but it definitely blooms these beautiful pretty red flowers. I'll see if I can post a picture of it in the corner if I'm able to find a picture, but this is what it looks like at the moment. You can see here that it has the old stems on it. This is basically how tall it got. So I never really, broke the stems down or cleaned up this area since winter. So that's what I definitely want to do. And you can see here, it also has a lot of these oak plants that are in it, these oak tree plants or whatever. So I'm going to definitely have to cut that out. And like I said, I'm not doing anything big. All I want to do is probably just put like a I may put like a no dig border around it, and just really and just put a little bit of mulch in this area and just kind of landscape it, because before it would just sit out here, and I think that'll just kind of help beautify it just a little bit more. So this is one of the spaces that I plan to work in today's video. So now the plan is to basically work in this entire area over here. So this entire section is what we're going to be working in, meaning, just adding this flower bed right here, for example, or should I say landscaping that flower bed. I want to cut back these trees here, and then I want to slice these hedges in half. I'm going to cut them in half, y'all, because they've already bloomed for the spring. These are azaleas. They were beautiful. They've already bloomed, so now I can go ahead and cut them back. Same thing over here. These are also azaleas. So I'm going to trim up over here and just not have everything looking so overgrown, basically. And that's the look I'm starting to get. I'm starting to get an overgrown looking flower bed, and I don't want that. I want this area to look nice, crisp, and pristine. So I'm going to cut all of this back really nice, and just really trim back a lot of these hedges. And I think that's going to really make this entire area pop. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. And y'all can see here, I added a little, you might remember this little table and chair from my backyard space. I did this because a lot of times when my dad comes up and visit, he likes to sit in the front yard and watch the cars passing by. So I decided to just, add that table and chair here instead, so he can sit back and just be nosy, because that's what it is, y'all. He's just being nosy and just watch everything passing by. So that's why I added this table and chair here. All right, y'all, so let's jump in and get started. Okay, y'all, so one of the things I typically like to do whenever I'm trimming back these azalea bushes from the fence, you can see how tall they are compared to the fence. They're almost taller than the fence. I like to keep an open area back here behind the hedges, and you can kind of see where there's still somewhat of an open space. And so I like to trim it back all the way to the point where I could literally just walk back here behind the bushes to make sure that it's not even touching up against the fence. And that's the goal here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to chop these in half, and then I'm going to just kind of even them up and make them look nice and pristine. So yeah. So I will say that a lot of people like their hedges this big or this tall, but for me, I actually love to see my fence because I love the way my fence look and I need to be able to see that. And that's one of the main reasons I'm wanting to slice these hedges in half. So then that way you can actually see more of the fence because really soon in a video I'm planning to landscape around the fence. So I am excited about that. And so this is just basically me prepping for that right now. Quickly, I want to show y'all why I'm trying to be extremely careful, because you can kind of see there's some wires. Let me move the branches aside a little bit. See, I have quite a few wires here, and I need to make sure that I'm not cutting those wires. Your girl don't need to be getting electrocuted, y'all, okay? So I'm going to just try to make sure I cut around this and just being cautious about how I cut around these wires. So that's why you see me keep stopping and starting, is just to make sure that I'm avoiding those wires. So one of the things you guys will notice as I'm trimming down these bushes is that I like to clean as I go. So you guys will notice that once I trim down a bush really, really low to the size that I want, I'll immediately clean up behind myself. And one of the reasons I do that is so that I'm not so overwhelmed if I, trim down all the bushes at once and then clean all the mess at once. Because to me, I feel like doing it this way is a lot more efficient. And then I'm also able to see what I've missed in terms of, how I want it cut, how I want it trimmed. I'm able to do that once I clear out that space. And if there's anything I need to go back and do, I can do that easily, because the space is already cleaned out.
Some kind of butterfly, baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're channeling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly.
All right, y'all. One bush down. 5 more to go. So let me just show you what my goal here is, just based on the bush that I just trimmed down, or the tree or whatever, because y'all, it was some tree. Y'all saw how tall it was. But anyway, let me just show you what it looks like at the moment, and then we're gonna go ahead and just kind of speed up the video while I trim all the remaining hedges. So let's take a look. Okay, so this is the goal. I want to get these bushes trimmed down really, really small. Y'all remember how huge this was? And you can see how nice and clean it is. The only other thing I'm gonna do in this area, and I'll do that once I've trimmed down all the bushes, is I'm gonna get my weed eater and just kind of weed eat over here. And I'm probably gonna even spray some grass and weed killer up against the fence. But yeah, so far so good. Everything looks really good on this one. So now, let's go ahead and tackle these. All right, y'all. Whew. When I tell y'all it is hot, people, geez Louise, it is hot. Anywho, let me show you guys my progress so far and show you all the mess that came from me trimming down these azalea bushes. And I think I might hold off on this area right here around the tree. That's a lot. I think I'm gonna just make that a separate video. But anyway, let me show you guys my progress so far. All right, y'all, so here's a look at the mess that came from me trimming down those hedges, those azaleas. It was literally 4 huge bushes. So yeah, I'm gonna rake all this up, clean this up, and just put this at the head of the road so the trash folks can come take it off tomorrow. But y'all, look at that view now. Look how amazing this space looks after I trim down all those hedges. Now, here's the funny part. By next spring, they'll be back really, really tall. So what I think I'm gonna start doing is really just kind of monitoring these hedges, and that may require me to trim them at least maybe 2 to 3 times a year. I'm thinking maybe twice a year, just to kind of keep a steady eye on them and not have them growing so overwhelmingly tall. So then that way I don't have to work as hard as I did today. So I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on them and keep them maintenance probably maybe twice a year. I'm thinking now, and then I'll probably go back and take a look at them and see how they're growing in the fall. And if I have to just kind of trim off a little bit in the fall, then that's what I'll do. But here's what I was telling you guys about how I like to have that open space behind them so that it's not even touching the fence. And so here's what that looks like. You see that cute little bird? So yeah, so I love the fact that I'm able to walk through this area and not have to worry about, you know, all this mess and debris and everything is all in the way. So I absolutely love that. So perfect. And granted, you guys don't have to do this, and you might notice I'm sweating like crazy right now, y'all. But, you know, some people like their hedges tall and, you know, overgrown. That's not me. I don't like my hedges overgrown. I like to be able to have something that's nice and clean and neat, because it makes it a lot harder to clean around that space. Like when the leaves fall and everything, it makes it a lot harder to kind of clean up in that area. And I don't like leaving leaves on the ground. I know it's probably good for the soil. That's just not me. I don't like to do that. I like to have everything nice, crisp, and pristine. So now the only other thing I have to do in this space is just weed. So I'm just going to use my weed edger and just weed up all those grass and everything. And that space should be done. Yay! So now that will leave the area over here where I told you I wanted to create just a little cute little landscape around that existing bush that I have. Nothing major, you guys. Just kind of updating that space and making it look really, really nice. Okay, y'all, so I got a lot done for today. Perfect. I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop off on today because, again, don't overwhelm yourself. Do just a little bit, you know, have a goal in mind in terms of what you want to do that particular day, but don't try to do it all in one day. That's something I had to learn, is to just learning and knowing when to say, okay, you know what, that's enough. I'll pick back up on tomorrow, or maybe the next day or the day after that, on the other portion of what I need to do. So anyway, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll go ahead and finish up. Wow, so it looks like I'm stopping just in time because it's getting really, really cloudy. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys, so it's been a couple of days later. You guys might remember that when I actually started on this project, it was on Friday. And shortly after I got done, it poured down rain. It stormed the entire night, and it stormed all day Saturday. So here it is today, which is Sunday. Just wanted to show you guys my progress because I wasn't able to complete everything I wanted to in this video. So we'll pick back up where we left off on Wednesday or either Thursday of this upcoming week. But in the meantime, let me show you guys my progress and just kind of tell you guys a little bit about what I'm planning to do in this particular space. All right, so right quickly, here's what the space looks like. I was able to trim down all the hedges. They look amazing. I love the fact that I can see the fence now. The only thing I still have to do is to just kind of do a little cute little landscape in this little area here. It's not going to be anything major. Just basically, you know, probably use my no-dig landscaping, add some mulch, and maybe add just a few seasonal flowers in this space here for the most part. Nothing huge. And you guys might remember where I landscaped the other side of the fence on last year, and I've always wanted to get over here and landscape in this space. Didn't get a chance to do it, so that's definitely going to be coming up in my next few videos. But what I plan to do is I plan to just landscape around this entire area. Not sure if I want to include these this tree here. I may, but I think I want to first cut down these azaleas before doing that. But for right now, the focus is definitely going to be this space here, and then as well as this little area right here. So that's something that I'm planning to do in Wednesday's video, and then hopefully we can show the final reveal by Sunday, but that is definitely the plan. And I really love how this space looks in terms of being able to get back here and walk in between the hedge and the fence. I think that's absolutely perfect, you guys. You can see more of the fence, which is exactly what I wanted. All right, so that's actually going to conclude today's video. I will be picking up again, like I mentioned before, where I left off on Wednesday or Thursday of this upcoming week. And we'll go ahead and get started with landscaping around that cute little bush, as well as around these azaleas by the fence. So we're gonna go ahead and landscape all of that in either Wednesday or Thursday's video, and then probably do a final reveal on that following Sunday. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Definitely share this video with your friends and family. And of course, I will see you guys really soon in my next video. Until then, bye now.